This has been the craziest YouTube journey of all time. I think we might actually be the fastest channel. Hi, it's me, Beluga.
This is the craziest YouTube journey of all time. The fastest channel to hit 10 million subscribers in 8 months with like 100 videos. What everyone missed, and what Beluga discovered about YouTube in June, was that he hadn't just made viral videos. He had created a format the entire internet could copy, and every copy made the original stronger. A kid in his bedroom, posting made-up Discord conversations, using a cat as his profile picture, built one of the fastest growing channels YouTube has ever seen. Before June 2021, that channel was picking up maybe 800 subscribers a month. Then it was suddenly everywhere. Within roughly 3 months, Beluga had already passed 4 million subscribers, but that was only the first explosion. By early 2022, roughly 8 months after the Discord format took off, the channel had crossed 10 million subscribers. In less than a year, Beluga had gone from an almost invisible channel to the diamond play button milestone. And honestly, nothing about this channel looks like it should work. The thumbnails are blurry, badly cropped, and sometimes even have typos. There is no voiceover, most of the video is just text appearing on the screen, and somehow, a fake argument between two cats got more than 25 million views. But those first 8 months were only the beginning. The channel eventually grew to more than 11 million subscribers and over 2.5 billion views. And strangely, it did that while uploading less, not more. There were long periods where the channel barely posted anything, which would normally destroy the momentum of most channels. But whenever it came back, the views were still there, and during all of this, something else happened that most people ignored. Hundreds of other channels started making almost the exact same kind of videos. Same blurry style, same pacing, same kinds of characters. There were versions in Portuguese, Indonesian, Spanish, Russian, and many other languages. Most creators would probably see that as a nightmare, but in this case, it actually helped. Because when people looked at the channel's early success, most of them focused on how the videos were made. Almost nobody asked why the format was so simple, cheap, and easy for anyone else to copy. To understand why that matters, think about how YouTube works. YouTube is not only trying to recommend one good video, it wants people to stay on the platform and keep watching. So if someone watches one type of video, YouTube wants to have more similar videos ready for them. If only one creator is making a certain format, that can actually become a problem. A viewer finishes the video, but there might not be anything similar to recommend next. The algorithm has to send them somewhere else. But imagine hundreds of channels making the same type of content. Suddenly, there is an entire genre. If someone watches one video and likes it, YouTube now has hundreds of similar videos it can recommend afterward. And the creator who started that genre has a huge advantage because viewers will eventually keep getting pushed back toward the original channel. So instead of asking, how do I make one video that the algorithm likes? The better question becomes, how do I create a format that hundreds of other people will copy? Once you look at the channel that way, a lot of the strange decisions start making sense. Take the thumbnails. They are blurry, badly cropped, and sometimes look unfinished. The creator clearly knows enough about editing to make them cleaner, but he doesn't, and that actually makes the format easier to copy. A teenager with a free editing app can make something that looks almost identical in a few minutes. Nobody watches these videos and thinks the production is impossible to recreate. Most people probably think they could make one themselves. The titles work the same way. They are usually short, often around 33 characters, and many of them start with the same kind of when you wording. They also use very specific numbers like 9.17 seconds or 97.1%. That creates a recognizable style. After enough channels start using the same kind of titles, viewers can recognize the format before they even know which channel uploaded the video. They only need to see a few words and the thumbnail. That is how a genre starts forming. Then there is probably the biggest reason the format spread so easily. There is no face, no voice, and almost no filming. The characters communicate through text on the screen. That means there is no accent to copy and almost nothing that needs to be translated beyond the words themselves. Someone in Brazil, Indonesia, or Spain can remake the exact same kind of video without needing to speak English. All they really need is a screen recorder, some basic editing, and a sense of humor. The format can be copied by almost anyone. And because the videos are so simple, they are also extremely cheap to produce. That made it possible to upload around 50 videos in a single quarter. Most creators treat every video like a major project. They may spend days or weeks producing one upload and hope it performs. This channel could treat every video like another experiment. Make 50, see which ones work, and then make more of what succeeds. And because the format was cheap for him to make, it was also cheap for everyone else to copy. That also changes how you should look at his older channel. Before this channel existed, he already had a lucid dreaming channel with close to 1 million subscribers. People often assume that channel gave him the audience he needed to launch the new one. But when the new channel launched, only a few thousand people really transferred over. That was nowhere near enough to explain what happened next. What he actually carried over was experience. The old channel had already taught him how to run a faceless content system. No face, no big personality, information delivered mostly through the screen, and videos that one person could produce in large numbers. He was not really moving an audience from one channel to another. He was taking a production system that already worked and applying it to a topic with a much bigger potential audience. The old channel was basically the practice run. There is also a short video from the early days that people often talk about. In it, he announces the channel's name change and basically tells viewers that if the channel becomes huge one day, they should like and comment now so they can prove they were there early. People usually treat that as confidence. But there is another way to look at it. He was creating a record showing that this channel was there at the beginning. That becomes important when hundreds of other channels later copy your format. Once everyone is doing the same thing, one of the most valuable things you can have is proof that you were the original. He was creating that proof before he actually needed it. The first proper Discord-style skit was uploaded on June 12, 2021, and eventually reached around 12 million views. Less than a month later, the channel passed 1 million subscribers. The format exploded incredibly quickly. And naturally, people started copying it. But there was one part of the format that was much harder to steal: the characters. There was Hecker the Hacker, Pablo the Moderator, Skittle, Better, Eugene, and eventually a whole group of recurring characters. These were not just random names used once. They had their own personalities, relationships, jokes, and roles that continued across hundreds of videos. And that matters because a character is much harder to copy than an editing style. Anyone can copy a blurry thumbnail or use the same sound effects. Nobody really cares. But if another channel uses Hecker, they are immediately reminding viewers where that character originally came from. So the creator basically gave away the easiest parts of the format to copy while keeping the most valuable part connected to his own channel. Other people could copy the look, the titles, the pacing, and the production style. But the characters still belong to the original world he had created. And that is exactly what happened. Copycat channels appeared everywhere. Some translated the format into other languages. Others created entire channels around characters inspired by or taken from the original videos. There were fan channels, tribute channels, and channels making almost identical videos with slightly different names. Some of them grew very quickly at first, but most eventually slowed down. The problem was not necessarily that their videos were bad. They had copied the visible parts of the format, but they had not copied the things that made the original channel difficult to replace. They had the blurry thumbnails, sound effects, and when you titles. But they did not have characters viewers were already attached to, and they could not claim to be the creator who started the format. So, in a strange way, all of those copycat channels were still helping the original creator. They kept producing more videos in the same genre. That gave YouTube more content to recommend to people who liked the format. And sooner or later, many of those viewers would end up discovering the original channel. Then the channel made another important move. It started relying less on normal uploads and more on things that felt like events. There were large giveaways, games, and community events involving huge numbers of viewers at the same time. In one case, a Discord notification reportedly reached almost 40,000 people at once. At that point, it was no longer just about uploading a skit and hoping people clicked. He had built a community that could be gathered whenever he wanted. And that is a big difference. A normal creator has an audience that needs to be constantly fed new content. If they disappear for too long, people move on. But if you own a recognizable format, recurring characters, and a community built around them, you can disappear for months and still come back to a large audience. That helps explain how the channel could reach more than 2.5 billion views across roughly 400 videos, while sometimes uploading only a few times a year. So the biggest lesson here is not really about blurry thumbnails, short titles, or editing tricks. It is about how most creators think about competition. Most people try to create something nobody else can copy. They protect their process and try to make their style completely unique. But that can also leave them alone. This creator did almost the opposite. He made a format that was cheap, simple, and extremely easy to copy. Then he made sure the part that mattered most, the characters and the identity of the channel, stayed connected to him. So instead of hundreds of copycat channels destroying his channel, they helped create a much bigger genre around it. He did not need to beat every competitor. In a strange way, the competitors helped build the market for him. And if there is one useful lesson from all of this, it is this. Instead of only asking whether people can copy your format, ask whether your format is actually worth copying. And if they do copy it, make sure there is still something important that only you own.